what the firefight looks like overnight in the hills outside Los Angeles. A dangerous storm of hot embers raining down on crews as they walk a gauntlet of fire. From above, a low-flying air attack, zigzagging across fiery ridges, desperate to slow the inferno, fanned by powerful winds. It's desperate conditions like these that have now taken the lives of at least 44 people across the state.
How quickly is this fire jumping from hill to hill?
Very fast, very fast.
President Trump declaring a disaster in California. Some 7,600 structures already destroyed, while 70,000 homes are still in the path of fire. In Northern California, the most destructive and deadliest fire in state history has turned the town of Paradise into a living nightmare.
In the state of California, the world has witnessed some very strange events taking place. In fact, it began just a couple of years ago, in which people began to notice a very strange pattern, where a fire would come and it would choose what to burn and what not to burn. The photography or the photographs of which I'm going to share with you is going to help validate the point of which I have just explained to you. And that point is, once again, when you observe these effects or the after effects of these fires, these forest fires, these wildfires, which are dubbed wildfires, what you will find is that these fires choose what to burn and what not to burn. But, my friends, a fire is a fire. A fire cannot choose what to burn and what not to burn. When a fire burns, it burns everything in its path. If a fire is going to be unquenchable and uncontrollable, firefighters will step back and allow the fire to burn and consume until there is nothing to burn and consume. Let's observe these pictures together. Look at this scenery, these apocalyptic scenes. It's a biblical event. These are events that forecast the times that we are living in. These events forecast the end of the world. Now, when you observe these fires, what's the first thing that comes to mind? You see, everything is consumed except for the grass, except for the trees. But yet, my friends, when a forest fire or a wildfire strikes, the first thing that normally burns are the trees and the grass. These are the things that burn. And then, after that, it moves towards the cities. And then if it's going to burn or consume any houses, it consumes everything, including the lawn. But if you observe these pictures, these, my friends, are showing to you the after effects of the fires which have taken place recently at a place called Paradise in California.
This is what the firefight looks like in the mountains outside Los Angeles. The air attack swooping in just above fiery ridges, multi-million-dollar homes on the brink of disaster.
I'm surrounded by fire.
Many neighborhoods overrun by an unstoppable wall of fire, a vortex of smoke and flames closing in.
It was a tornado. I mean, it wasn't going like this, it was swirling.
With embers raining down, firefighters face a hellscape, losing more homes over the weekend and 2 new flare-ups today, causing panic on the freeway.
In neighborhoods like this one, where brush fires are burning, they could easily ignite nearby homes.
Across the state, the damage and devastation is staggering. The death toll climbing to at least 31. More than 7,000 structures have burned.
This is not the new normal. This is the new abnormal. Governor Jerry Brown said on the role of climate change in driving the fires. It is worthy to note that the topic of climate change seems to intensify with time, and it seems that people's attentions are being turned towards climate change. Climate change is at the core of these apocalyptic fires. Climate change is at the core of these unprecedented events, these unusual weather patterns. Climate change is at the center of all of this. Now, if you observe climate change is actually being pushed or led by the Vatican. The Vatican has a strong say with regards to the climate change. All of these scientists and all these other people who are coming out and saying that climate change is a thing and we need to do something about it, these people are all agents which are working on behalf of the papacy. They are basically the hands of the papacy. They are the agencies which are working hard to bring the agenda of the papacy into existence. And the agenda of the papacy is the agenda of the dragon who gave authority and power and might to the papacy. You see, when you start seeing these unusual events, these unusual fires, they are, number one, destroying man-made infrastructures. They are destroying everything that is built by the hands of men, except the trees and the grass. Nature is being preserved by these unusual fires. Now, when you look at this, you can clearly understand that some religious figure is going to come and say, this is the sign of God's wrath upon humanity. We have turned our backs on the creator of heaven and earth, and as a direct result, he is punishing us and showing us the signs and saying, hey, do not hurt the earth anymore. You need to preserve nature. You need to preserve Mother Nature. And this, my friends, is going to be in their avenue. Watch and learn. Pope Francis had made a claim that climate change is a direct result of our sins, as a direct result of the sins of mankind. Now make note that the government has something known as the DEW, or the DEW, which stands for the Direct Energy Weapon. A direct energy weapon utilizes a laser technology that can be able to cause fires or can be able to melt steel and basically vaporize anything of which it is concentrated upon instantly. And I believe that this might be the case with which California is being tested with these weapons. These weapons are capable of doing what we are seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a natural fire. It is not a normal natural fire. However, this will be the new abnormal from this point on. It's going to get more and more worse, and you can clearly see that there is a motive. Destroy all infrastructure, destroy all things made by the hands of men, but preserve nature. Leave nature so that we can be able to tell the people of the world, listen, this is God's wrath. We need a national Sunday law. We need to get back to observing a Sabbath. And believe it or not, Pope Francis wrote an encyclical in 2015, and this encyclical points to Sunday sacredness, that the observance of Sunday is good for the environment. He basically summarizes it in such a way that if people of the world would observe Sunday and the factories would close also on Sunday, automobiles banned every Sunday from being turned on, if only they can have one day quietness, it would be very good for the environment, and it would be very good for the family, and it will be very good for society as a whole. That is how we take care of the future. That is the agenda of the papacy. It sounds sweet, it sounds good, it sounds like something with good intentions. That reminds me of a statement: the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It doesn't matter how friendly the papacy may appear. It doesn't matter how sweet these ideas may sound. My friends, don't forget that the dragon, who is Satan, the serpent of old, he gave him his power, his seat, and his great authority. This man who is in the head of the papacy, do not trust anything that comes out of his mouth, because anything that comes out of his mouth is baloney. Anything that comes out of his mouth comes directly from the lips and mouth of Satan himself. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. These events which are taking place in California are actually forecasting biblical prophetic events. Biblical events which are pointing to the last day final events of Earth's history before the close of probation. Once probation closes, the command will be given to the 4 angels holding back the 4 winds to let go, because God's children have already been sealed worldwide. That means when the angels let go of the 4 winds, there's nothing that human beings can do. The earth itself and the sea shall be destroyed. The earth enters into a state of crisis such as has not been since there was a nation, since the beginning of the world until this time, and no, nor ever shall be. These sinister events are happening because of God's wrath being slowly poured upon the earth. Because of his wrath, he is now allowing the agencies of evil to carry on their plans, to carry on their plots. And ladies and gentlemen, eventually when probation closes and the Spirit of God is withdrawn from the earth, and only the few elect are the ones that have the Spirit of God. Do you know what that means? That means whatever evil and foul thing that the human mind can be able to imagine, all of these things, people will be free to express their darkness without any restraint and without any guilty conscience, without remorse, without being regretful of anything, because at that time there will be no more a conscience given unto them. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Ladies and gentlemen, that time is coming soon. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the climate change movement is making its way through these types of catastrophic events. These unprecedented fires, these biblical weather patterns that we are seeing, these are all heralding a time of great trouble that is about to be upon us. And mark these words. When you see these events taking place, expect to begin to hear the papacy and many other of his agents cry out for a day of national rest, a day of unplugging, a day of shutting down all the industries, a day of shutting down vehicles, a day of rest in which it shall be beneficial for both the human race, the human family, and also for the environment. Look at Paris. Paris has shown an excellent example of this. They have already made it officially a law in which at the beginning of every month, the beginning Sunday of every month, they shut down vehicles and factories for the sake of the environment. And what are they saying? That this is the best move that they have ever done, thus influencing other people around them to also do the same if they want to have a clean air. Now also, if you look at the European Sunday Alliance, they are also trying to push the exact same thing. Bring forth a time of rest, a day of rest. We need a national day of unplugging, a day of family rest. All of these, ladies and gentlemen, are putting heavy emphasis on Sunday sacredness. That, my friends, is the movement towards a Sunday law. But it's not going to come in the name of Sunday law. It will come in the name of climate change. And get this, currently President Trump, he is still considered what you would call right now a climate change skeptic. However, there's coming a time in which when the president finally yields to climate change and he says, truly, climate change is a real thing, it's a real threat, we must do something about it, that heralds a law that will justify the protection of the environment. And should anyone be against this, then they are going to be persecuted and they will receive torture. Mark these words for future records. This is something that will come to pass. When that time comes in which you are forced to go and worship a certain way, should you comply and go by the law of the state and disobey the laws of God, that means that you are in a direct open rebellion against heaven's own laws. You are against the heavenly government, and rather you put your trust in earthly support. When they threaten you that they are going to cut all of your earthly support, what will you say? Ladies and gentlemen, be prepared, because there's a time of trouble that is coming that you are not yet capable of comprehending. Thank you for tuning in and for joining me. This is The Controversy 7. If you found this information useful, give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to share this information because you never know who you will reach. Thank you for joining me. You take care of yourselves, be safe, and I will see you guys next time.